Welcome to Midlife Unlimited Live for Five. I'm your host, Kate Porter, the Midlife Metamorphosis Coach, and I am delighted to be joined by my episode 11 guest, Alex Hughes, to talk about and give a taste of our episode, how to reinvent home as a midlife woman. So welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Kate, again.
Oh, now, our episode, and we're going to give some golden nuggets, epitomizes what Midlife Unlimited is all about. Having those conversations about big changes that we just bottle up how we're feeling. We think
Yep.
no one's going to be really interested. But you, over 20 years in the same home, everything changed.
It did indeed. It did indeed. It was time to move on. I think the highlight from that episode, I loved listening back to our conversation. It seemed to flow, and I think that's because it is such a natural thing to talk about, and it shouldn't be something we're scared of. And I think the whole thing, listening back, was telling a journey and seeing it back in its entirety. So it was no longer me looking forward to I've got the move to come. It's the moves happened, and now I'm moving on. So it kind of went through the move as well itself.
And what I loved, you share so many beautiful stories, and I won't do any spoilers. You've got to tune in. And our episode, I forgot to say, it's available wherever you listen to your podcast, episode 11, Midlife Unlimited. But what stuck with me is bittersweet, and the passing of time is something that it was a real, in a positive way as well. But
Yeah.
that's something that really stood out to me, how it makes you pause and think,
Yeah, it does, and it makes you very proud of where you've come from and what you've done. And I think for me, the profound thing was the effect of my upbringing, and how I'd woven that into making a secure passing on, I think, of the baton for us to move on and for our children to move on and do their thing. And just looking back at that as my role as a mum, as a wife, as a friend, as a sister, and just sort of see how that's evolved over time. And I think you don't realise until you do it that actually it can be done, and it's an easier transition than you think it might be.
and as you say, there are so many reasons why in midlife moving house might be on the cards. Now, for you, it was a change. It was the right time for you and your husband. Obviously, the whole empty nesting thing we talk about, but it could be divorce, it could be bereavement, it could be just career shift, or just you fancy a change. You've always, this is the time to think, I've always fancied moving to Devon, Outer Mongolia, wherever that may be. But one lovely thing that, again, that stuck with me, and as a former newspaper editor, the word assume is something that was drummed into us, never assume anything. And I know there was some love, and please tune in because these are gorgeous stories with your daughters about not assuming how they would react.
Yeah, and also I wasn't sure how they were going to react. They'd lived in the house for 22 years. It's where they grew up. It's where they went to school. It's where they had their friends. Actually, they looked upon it as something for us. They could see it was time for us now. They're not children anymore. They're adults. So it was kind of, but they did assume that they had a bedroom here, though, Kate. That's the thing. They did assume which bedroom is ours. So I said, you're a guest now. They're not your bedrooms, which again is really weird, not having their stuff in the bedroom.
I
But
know. And we do talk about stuff a lot, and you've got some great insights. I will say the word pizza cutter. We won't go
yes,
any further. So if you want to find out more about what Alex and I get up to, and it is a golden episode. It's joyous, it really is. And I loved you joining me to shine a light on this topic that we just don't talk about enough, to put the emotions out there, because Midlife Unlimited is about letting you all know that you're not alone. We're all going through this in our own different way, and it's about, isn't it, coming together, having the conversation, getting involved. And we've had some amazing feedback. But I know, having listened to this and our full-length episode, wonderful women out there would love to get in contact with you, and all your details are in the show notes on the Midlife Unlimited podcast website and on the actual show notes for the episode, available wherever you listen to your podcasts. So thank you so much for taking the time to join me live for five today, but also for being raw and open. because that's what we're all about, isn't it? Sharing.
I'd like to leave the listeners with one thing, and I can't remember where it comes from, and I think it's really poignant, and I'm going around a cycle in this. There's this phrase that when you're young, you're the picture in the frame. When you grow up, you become the frame of the picture. And when you're older, you're the hook of the picture. So that for me is where I am now. But I think I'm going back into a cycle where me and my husband are making our own time. So we'll now be the pictures in the frame again. And I think it's a real cycle. It's really something to stick in your mind.
Oh, I've got goosebumps. I love it. Well, you're a joy. It's always wonderful to catch up with you. I'm going to have to get you back on again, I think. We have to talk about something else.
More to
Where
talk
you
about.
are now. You and your husband's amazing new adventures, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? New
Absolutely.
adventures, new beginnings. Thank you for joining me. Listen to our podcast episode, Midlife Unlimited, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks, Alex.